Section 6.4, homework problem number 12. So we still want to write a word problem for how many groups, because this section is only talking about how many groups type of division of fractions. And 6.5, we will talk about how many groups in one, how many units in one. And first we write, and notice the difference between this problem and the previous problem. Both numbers are fractions, because proper fractions, but here we know 6 is actually a whole number. It can be considered as a fraction, but not a proper fraction. So here we look at these two fractions. We want to come up with a word problem. You could literally just use the same word problem here by replacing the numbers. Say replacing 6 with the number 2/3 and replacing 3/4 with the number 1/2 we're given here. But I try to do the different version because I mentioned whenever you have fractions of division or multiplication, you want to use servings, you want to use recipes. So that in this example, I use the recipe. So now I'm going to do a serving. So again, what we're going to do is remember the answer is going to be number of groups. In this case, I decided to use servings, not going to be batches of cookies anymore. So how many, the question is going to be how many servings? How many servings did we eat? Now, if this is how many servings, that means 1/2 is the number of units in one serving. So we have to decide what we're going to pick for units. What's the measuring unit in one serving? So you can either use cups or use liters. So depending on what food you're talking about. So we have, I still use the cups because the cups probably the easiest. And with this number is always the total number of units. Total number of units. In this case, again, units will be cups. So we have 2/3 cups of something, some kind of food, popcorn. And 1/2 means 1/2 cup in one serving. So when you rephrase the sentence, you could say 1 serving of popcorn is 1/2 cup. If we ate 2/3 cup, that's the total number of units we ate. And how many servings did we eat? Or you could say we have 2/3 cup of popcorns. How many servings would that be? Or how many servings are 2/3 cup of popcorn? Okay, so we also, so first we have the word problem. Next, we want to solve the problem by one of either a math drawing table or double number line. And by first giving, so in this case, they didn't ask us to use the table method because the table method doesn't really show the conversion of, doesn't see the parts. And notice that in the drawing method, you will see the parts, except the one is in like a box, the other is just a line. So we want you to do one of these two methods by first giving the fractions a common denominator and then dividing the numerators. Okay, so when we do division, if they have different denominators, and we could, one of the ways is to convert them to the same denominators. For addition and subtraction of fractions, we have no choice. We have to convert different denominators to the same denominators because we cannot add or subtract parts with different sizes. They have to be the same size for addition and subtraction. But for multiplication division, they don't have to have the same denominators. But if you have the same denominators, it doesn't hurt. So you could do that. One of the ways for division of fractions is to convert them to the same denominator. So they have same size parts. So we start with the whole, which is one whole here. And for the first fraction, 1/2, we're going to divide into two equal parts. So this is one cup. And so that is a 1/2 cup. And to 2/3 cup, we divide the 1 cup into 3 equal parts, and we can shade 2 of them. So they did it right here. So they took one of the 1/2. So that's the 1 serving, and then take 2 parts. That's the total number of servings, total cups we ate. So we have those two, and next, because apparently 1/2 it's a big part and 1/3 is a smaller part, so we cannot really see. So the question is, it's like asking how many of 1/2 are contained in 2/3. And because they have different parts, we cannot really see how many of these are in there. And so what we do is we're gonna convert them to the same size parts. So from what we learned in chapter 2, to convert them into equivalent fractions. So 1/2 and 2/3, we can use the common denominator 6. So we can multiply this by 3 to get 3/6, this by 2 to get 4/6. Graphically, multiplying by 3 means you divide each part into 3 equal parts. So each of them is going to be 1/6. 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. For 2/3, we divide each part into, because we multiply by 2, so we divide each part into 2 equal parts. So we're still going to get 1/6. So we end up with 4/6, which is still equal to 2/3. But once we got the same size parts or like parts, we're going to ignore the size of each part, which is 1/6. We're only going to count how many parts. So here we have 3 parts, and here we have 4 parts. So again, the size of each part doesn't matter anymore as long as they are the same size. So the question becomes, so how many of 1/2 are contained in 2/3? 2/3 is turned into, so that question is turned into how many 3 parts are in 4 parts? So how many of this are contained in here? So apparently that's one of them, right? One of it, and that there's another little one which is the of 1/3 of this. So this is similar. I'm gonna put it right here. So similar to something we did previously in section 6.2. So it's kind of like you have 2 strips, and it's like asking how many of this shorter piece can make the long piece. So we can see, of course, we need one of them, but we also need this little part here only is 1/3 of that shorter piece. So it's not a 1/6 because we're using the shorter one to make the whole longer one, which makes the shorter one the whole. So that is 1/3. So together it's 1 and 1/3, or you can say it's 4/3. So you will have one. You have one. If we ate 2/3, we definitely ate more than 1 serving because 1 serving is shorter than 2/3. 1/2 is shorter than 2/3. So we ate 1 serving plus 1/3 of the serving. So that's 4. You can say 4/3 servings, or 1 1/3 of the serving. So that's how we found the answer, which is 4/3 or 1 1/3. So that's we ate more than 1 serving.